Hi, Dan.
Hello. Hi, Suzanne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? This is very
I'm
exciting.
doing very well. I know this is so much fun. I'm glad we decided to collaborate and make something happen for Beltane.
Yes, me too. And at the very last minute. And thank you to everyone who is tuning into this. I want to call it like a tarot ritual for Beltane. That's kind of what we're doing?
Workshop, spell, whatever you want to call it. I'm
Yeah.
not into labels.
No,
That's for
we
them to
don't need
decide.
to,
That's
we don't need to label this, but this
we
is
don't need to label this.
no, we don't. But this is an invitation, I will say, to anyone who either loves Beltane and already celebrates it and wants to be in community, or this if you have no idea what Beltane is and you're interested, or if you are into tarot or you're interested in tarot, or if you just really like me and Dan and want to hang out with us kind of for a little while.
We'll
So
take whatever reason you're here. That's fine. We're just glad you're here.
we're just glad you're here with us. So
Should we introduce ourselves first? Did we do? Are you? You
yes,
go first.
I'm gonna introduce myself. So if you don't already know, my name is Suzanne Lunden Metzger, and I just realized I have lived in New York now for over 10 years. And I moved, yeah, isn't that crazy? It's crazy. I moved here to go to graduate school to study poetry. And I have been super fortunate since then to work, to study and work primarily in the poetry world. I worked at Poets House for a long time in various roles until they recently closed. And I want to do a quick shout out to Dan and I's dearest friend Gina, who I met at Poets House. She's the reason that Dan and I are here doing this together, and she's the reason really that I have found Beltane and these other sacred earth holidays, and they've just added so much to my life. And that is totally from our friend Gina and from Outlander. So
Thank you, Gina.
and
Thank you, Gina. And Outlander. Yes. And thank you, Gina.
We just loved you. So anyway, so I have been, as some of you may know, I've been offering some poetry workshops specifically for moms recently, but I really wanted to open up the workshop space in honor of this sacred holiday that not that many people really know about, and I wanted to celebrate it in one of my favorite ways of marking these sacred holidays, which is tarot. And Dan Testa of Dan Testa Tarot is just the man for the job. So
great. That's called a segue in the business. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's a good. That's a segue.
Yeah. So
I am Dan Testa.
Tell us about yourself.
I am Dan Testa. Thank you. And I did start Testa Tarot in January, and that just came out of the passion of doing tarot for myself, just being very self-reflective during this time of COVID and staying in, and also wanting to share it with others. So that's what brought me to Testa Tarot. And Gina is what brought me to Suzanne. We've addressed that. I had a New York connection. I'm now based in LA. I love it here. Yeah, living that California life, doing creative work, but really diving into tarot and wanting to make that my next step, my next stage of life. I'm loving it. Yeah.
Yes, I was super excited to do a reading with Dan not so long ago. And I feel like it's always like kind of a risk when you do a reading like that with someone who's a friend, because you know, that's going to come into the reading. But I honestly, it was one of the best tarot readings I've ever had. And he just really honed in on things. So I'm so excited to do this tonight. So, what we are the structure of this workshop is we will be doing a sort of opening meditation / exercise, writing exercise that will be familiar to those of you who've taken workshops with me before. And then we will have a brief conversation about Beltane, talk about, why we're doing this, and what we want to bring to you. And then we will go into with Dan, we'll go into a tarot sort of exploration and ritual for the holiday. Really something that can help us celebrate and really feel into the energies and what this can do for us, what this time of year is asking from us, and what it can do for us. And then we'll close with some ways to look forward into Beltane tomorrow. So we are currently recording this on Beltane Eve, April 30th, the last day of April. And then tomorrow is May Day, which again is a familiar thing to some of you. It's a worldwide celebration, but it has interesting and ancient roots. And so so that's how this will be working. And so all you'll need is a piece of paper or a notebook and something to write with, and a source of light. So that ideally, because we'll talk more about this, but Beltane is a fire festival. And so I have a candle right here. Oh, we have them. Yes, the Mary candle. Oh, I love her. Or you could have a lamp, whatever light is lighting the room you're in. Or if it's really if you're in the dark and you just want to be in the dark, they'll glow from your computer or your phone will suffice. But basically just a light, a source for you. And again, because this is a virtual video workshop, you should feel free to pause it at any time, like right now. If you need to go get your paper and your pen and your light source, feel free to pause it right now. Go ahead. Go get it.
We'll take a minute.
Take a minute. And now we're back. Welcome back.
We're back. It's fun. That was fun.
That was really fun. So we'll do that throughout, so that you, especially if there's moments for writing or reflection, so that you can stop and tune into your whatever it is that you're doing. And then you just hit go again. It's so cool. So one quick little tiny story before we get going into the opening exercise is I just got a text from my sister who lives outside of Boston, and I think she's been seeing these videos and things that I've been posting about Beltane, but she's not really she doesn't celebrate Beltane actively. However, her family is super into Halloween. She has 2 kids who are 8 and going to be 6, which is crazy. And she just sent me a text that said, we're halfway to Halloween. And the kids are dressing up right now. They were in costumes and they were bobbing for apples. And I want to say, right, halfway to Halloween, it's Beltane. It's a holiday. It's something to celebrate. So even though she doesn't even she's not even thinking about the fact that it is in fact a sacred day. It is a holiday, but they're celebrating because we're halfway around the wheel of the year from Halloween, and they can feel it in the air that there's something to kind of rejoice in. So I thought that was really. I just got this text a little while ago. All right.
I love that. That's great.
Isn't that so? It was so cute. All right. So let's dive in to this opening exercise. Are you ready, Dan?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
All right. So I am going to ask you to close your eyes, or if you're not super comfortable closing your eyes, just sort of dim your eyes. But I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm also going to ask you to make sure that your light source, that you are either facing it, or that if it's something that you can hold, if it's a candle or something that you can hold up in front of you, you can do that. So if you have a candle or something, so open your eyes if you're grabbing a candle, and just kind of get it into a spot where you can gaze on it, but except for you'll have your eyes closed. All right. So you can close your eyes and just relax a little bit. Take some breaths. And as you start to relax and you just keep breathing, you might even do a, don't blow out your candle if you do that. Relax your shoulders, roll your head around. And as you do this, start to get still and start to see if through your closed eyes, you can kind of notice that light that's in front of you. Even with your eyes closed, you know it's there. And like we said, Beltane is a fire festival. So it's a festival that uses light and flame and heat as a symbol for us, to remind us, to make us feel something, feel into something. So what I invite you to do is to take your light source, hold on to it, and now as you're gazing, squint your eyes up as tight as you can, and then let them go, keeping them closed. And try it again. Squinch them up as tight as you can, and now let them go. And do it one more time. Squinch them up as tight as you can, and let them go. Now take some more relaxed breaths. And see if you start to notice any colors coming up behind your eyes, on your eyelids. See if any colors are appearing, maybe some lines, maybe some shapes. And as you relax more, they'll start to shift around. Maybe there's like a ball that emerges in the middle. Maybe there isn't. If you're getting nothing, squint your eyes up again. But if you have some shapes and some colors, I invite you now to lower your light source if you're holding it, and to just softly open your eyes, but keep your gaze soft, and grab your writing utensil and just write down any of the colors or shapes that you saw. Anything at all, just like a simple list, anywhere on your page. Just scribble them down. Any colors, any shapes. And anything else. If you saw anything else on your eyes too, please write that down. And now, once you make those little short lists, I invite you to look at the colors again. And very quickly, again, just write down anything that comes up for you that's that color. So if like you have a list of 3 colors, like the first color that you notice that something pops into your brain that's that color, write that down. And then just keep going, just anything, like literally anything. And if there's a shape that is like you have square and you think, oh, this is a square thing, just write that down. And after you've done this, and you don't have to have like one for each color, like it's totally just yours, like it's whatever comes up. Just look at your list again and choose one thing that is the most meaningful to you. And I want you to just we're going to take 30 seconds. And I want you to just free write on it. So just, even if you're just writing the word over and over again, we're just going to take like 30 seconds and just write from whatever that is. It could be a description of the thing. It could be what it reminds you of. It could be anything at all. Just a free association on one thing. I'm checking my timer to make sure we're. All right, and Dan, whenever you feel like you've come to a place of rest, you can just look up and we'll know to keep going. Awesome. So Dan, I'm just so curious. So what came up for you? Oops, where'd you go?
Oh, I'm here,
There
sorry.
you are.
So first, the colors, right, that we've talked about.
Mhm.
So I saw red, I
Mhm.
saw orange, I saw, when I squinted my eyes, it was like a dark forest green, almost
Ooh,
black, but
that's
more so
unusual. I don't get a lot
like
of
a
greens in
dark
this.
forest green.
Yeah.
It's
So
like that.
what did you do with those?
So for the objects or the images, I guess, that it brought to mind, I put fire, I wrote down like an actual orange, like the fruit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and a flame pattern. It was like almost like wallpaper, but I didn't actually see like dancing flames. It was more like I would just kind of get spurts of this like pattern, almost like sponge from a paint. You kind of just, it was kind of like, I just
Yeah.
kind of saw that. Nothing
Yeah.
vivid, just kind of like those kind of patterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Cool. And
And
did you
then yeah, I'm sorry.
no, did you expand? So what did you expand on? Did you expand on one of those?
So I picked fire
Yeah.
and I just wrote a couple of words that first came to mind in that time. Very simple. Sounds like opening lyrics to like a Taylor Swift song in her younger years, possibly. But I wrote fire, burn, blaze, heat.
Mm.
Those were the first things that just came to my mind.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So Dan, I invite you and I invite anyone following along to just keep this page in front of you for the remainder of the workshop, and keep any of the colors that came up for you that now they're there, they're in your consciousness for the remainder of the workshop, so let them be there. And so if anything resonates, if you find any connections between anything that just literally came out of your head, that came through your eyes when you looked at white, just keep them there. And then this page is also a place for you to take notes on the upcoming tarot ritual, and any notes on Beltane, and just literally anything else that comes up for you. This page is for you. Think of it as your like garden space. Like, it's not like an essay, it's not a poem, it's not anything. It's a piece of paper, it's a square, rectangle, whatever, for you to kind of plant your little seeds. Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit with Dan and with all of you about Beltane and what it is and kind of the larger context for it. So this has been a very last minute workshop. It's been brewing for a while. Dan and I have been talking about this for like at least a month or so. But as things happen, we had family visitors, which was great. And then we had I have 3 little kids. We had like weeks of sickness that we're just kind of getting through. But all through the past few weeks, I've been feeling so deeply called to do this workshop and to share this this offering and this information, because I feel like it's very important for us as a country and as a people and as just individuals to feel into what this season is offering us, and what Beltane in particular, what this sort of historical sacred day can give to us now. And for me, I feel like the best way to illustrate Beltane is to talk about its opposite. For me, in a lot of things, I've realized in my life that if I can't see something clearly straight on, it helps to look at, the shadow of it or the opposite of it as a way to get some clarity. And we're really fortunate because the opposite of Beltane is Samhain, which we know as in popular culture as Halloween, which is, at least again in this country, in the US, it is the most widespread secular celebration there is. I mean, I can't think of anything else that's as beloved by every generation, that's celebrated with such joy. And so I think I just want to take a minute to look at across the wheel, across the year. We're halfway to Halloween, and just look at that. Look at something familiar as a way to see into Beltane. And I feel like what's really magical about both Samhain, Halloween, and about Beltane is that they have a whole season that surrounds them. And if we go to the fall, I think most of us who live in climates where the weather shifts can we know that feeling of when it first starts to feel like fall, right? And it can kind of catch us off guard. Like it's like there's suddenly a crispness in the air and there's suddenly leaves on the ground and you look up and the tree that's on your street is suddenly the colors are starting to shift, and you feel it. I mean, you feel it, you experience it through your senses. You feel the cold, you start to smell this like smokiness or rot of the time, and you like it. You like that smell of rot. You like the smell of those leaves rotting. And we have the whole like pumpkin spice latte. Like people go crazy about this because it's this delicious, ridiculous it's treat, right? I mean, we've really gone all in. Last year was the first time that I heard Halloween time being called spooky season. I think in my son's daycare they were calling it spooky season, and I just really feel like that's it. There's an atmosphere to the fall and to Halloween that we as a culture we really embrace. And then of course it all leads up to Halloween, which is this like bizarre when we think about it, like we dress up as different things. We put on these disguises, we go out and we like knock on our neighbors' doors and ring people we don't know's doorbells and like ask them for candy. Like, and this is something like as kids, like we just do this. Like it's just like, yeah, that's what we do. And it's so weird to think about it. And as young adults, we bedeck ourselves in all like crazy costumes and we drink so much if that's what we do and we party. And it's familiar. We know what that feels like. We know that sense of excitement and revelry. And what's really interesting is that it's all in the service of, the ancient roots of it are honoring the dead and remembering the dead. And remember and honoring the cycle of the earth and how it's of decay and death, and that it's a wheel, and so it will come back around. But I find it so fascinating that we as a culture we just pour everything into Halloween. We love it, and yet on the flip side of the wheel we have this holiday that celebrates life. That Beltane is the opposite. It shares characteristics with Halloween, but it is the opposite. It is a fertility festival. It celebrates the ability, it not only celebrates life, it celebrates the ability of life to create more life. And I think that is, again, I have 3 small children. Like I love celebrating making life, obviously. But I also feel like in this time and after a year of so much sadness and death and isolation, and this is something that we need just this sort of like no holds barred celebration of life going on, not just life itself, but that life goes on, and there's
all of it. That's right, all parts
right.
of it.
Yeah. Right. And like that we are capable of creating again. This is something for me, I think that is really important. Like as a mom, like I just feel like I have such limited time to do any sort of personal creation. And like this right now, like even getting this together was hard because my time is so limited, but I can, like I can create. And I feel like Beltane is just an opportunity to honor that ability of us and see it mirrored, or feel it first mirrored in the earth and in the world around us. I'm fortunate to live in a really beautiful neighborhood in Brooklyn where the tulips are like just out of control, like super out of control. Like there was actually something in the New York Times recently about how people are perceiving the tulips as being so extra beautiful this year. And it's like, are they really more beautiful than they usually are? I don't know, but people this year are just raving about the tulips all over the place on social media, like everywhere. And I just think that we need it. We need we need to feel into those tulips that are like shedding their petals and licking the air and just like reveling life. Like they, I don't know. I think that we need it.
You are a poet, Suzanne. That's very poetic. I do love that take on tulips.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And so I guess so tarot again is a it's a divination tool. I mean, you'll talk more about it, Dan, but I feel like tarot is a way to use symbols and use ancient archetypes and metaphors as a way of exploring our own potential. And that I think is a worthwhile thing to do in these sacred times. So Dan, do you want to get us going in that direction?
We're going to talk some tarot. Okay. So Suzanne and I had a conversation where we did talk about archetypes in tarot and the ones that we thought were definitely linked to Beltane that we felt. And then we did a little bit of intuitive on our own, just kind of thinking about the cards that we would want to energetically bring into this season. So with that said, let's break down some cards. We picked out 4. I'm just going to talk a little bit about each card as it comes up, and feel free to, if you want to keep writing and jot some things down, if you two might jive with what I'm talking about and want to apply it. This is a group reading, so I do want to say, these are just cards that I'm picking out. I'll talk more about how I read when we actually start pulling cards for the collective. But I'll just say, Suzanne and I are going to be saying a lot of things today. So please take what you will and leave the rest. Not all of it will resonate, and I totally understand that, and nor should it. This is a group reading. So, but first, I just want to talk a little bit about the Sun card, Major Arcana card. I mean, this is just joy, abundance. I love the representation of intuition with those eyes. So from this, I'm really just trying to energetically bring this feeling of unabashed joy into the season, because like you said, we get glimmers of it first, we get signs of it in nature, and then for example, where I am, it is very warm outside, so I went outside and took a walk, but even inside I'm still feeling very much slow to come to this spring. I still feel like I'm shedding off this winter. And I feel like this, when I talk about this winter, I mean, it's been a year and a half of winter. It's like, so it's going to take some time to shed that winter. But what I am going to take with me is that feeling of my body did get me through this pandemic. I've been hearing this idea of like, if you are hung up on your 6-packs, you're not really celebrating the fact that your body got you through a pandemic in a time where other people's bodies did not. So I'm choosing to look at the joyful aspect of my body, my friends, the abundance I have already in my life, and the abundance that I hope to bring in to this season, this harvest of the seeds that I've already planted. This being one, our collaboration.
Yeah,
so
you're like
with that, I'll go.
This is so beautiful. This is so great. Oh my God.
Buckle up. So, wow, magic just hit us. So the next card that I would love to talk about is going to be the third card for Major Arcana. It's going to be the Empress card. And first, I just want to mention that I am using the True Heart Intuitive deck by Rachel True. I'm gonna post some links in the comment section so that we can give people their due. But beautiful deck. Anyway, go check her out. She's lovely. And so the Empress, right? This is the mother. She is pregnant with child. Yes, if we want to take it literal, but she's pregnant with creativity. 3 is a number of creation, of creativity. So when I was looking at this card earlier, the lyric came to me from the Fiona Apple song Pale September, even though we're talking about spring. She says, I wore the time like a dress that year. And I was like,
Oh,
that's the kind of energy I want to bring into the spring. I want to wear it like a dress this year. Just drape it on me and walk through the abundance that I know is coming to me
yeah.
because I've planted the seeds. That's what this time is about, planting seeds and then the fruition that comes from it.
Yeah.
So birthing ideas. This is a time of getting in tune with your creativity and stepping into that power.
Yeah. Can
So
I say
that's what
one
I'm,
more thing about the Empress?
yes, speak on it.
So
Speak on it.
so I wanted to just chime in that in pagan traditions, Beltane is when the god, these are goddess worshiping traditions, and so the goddess has 3 aspects: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And Beltane is when the maiden is impregnated by the horned god, or one of the green man, and becomes the burgeoning mother, not the mother yet, but the pregnant mother to be. So that space between the maiden and the mother, full of potential, but still trailing the aspects of the maiden, of the joy. Oh, what the heck? Hold on, my computer's doing bad things. Are we back?
Oh, don't. I'm back.
Why is this doing this? Okay, here we are. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was.
It's magic. No, but it's Beltane magic.
It is
greenhorn man.
It's the fairies. You can actually Beltane. You can blame the fairies. That's another part of Beltane that we should all embrace.
Fairies.
Blame those fairies. All right. Sorry. Go on, Dan.
No, but just to keep going with what you were saying, I love that idea of the Empress. She's pregnant, so don't be necessarily surprised. I'm not going to be surprised. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to internalize and say I'm not going to be necessarily surprised if the way that things come into fruition take some time. This is still the time of seeing things bloom. This isn't summer necessarily. I'm not, it's not like things are popping off in front of me, but I'm pregnant. I was walking around today on my walk today, feeling a little pregnant. There's ideas, there's creativity that's happening at this time. And it's important to stay on top of those seeds. This is a time for me to keep watering and keep tending and getting out in the sun, making sure that things are getting fed. You know what I'm saying? So that's the energy I'm trying to take with me on that card. Next, we want to talk about the Wheel of Fortune. You had already talked a little bit about the Wheel of the Year. So I thought this was just a great card to bring in and talk a little bit about. I love the idea of snakes shedding skin. Eagle, bravery. I mean, that's kind of the energy I'm trying to take into this season of I, along with other people I know, have been shedding a lot of skin lately. And it's going to keep happening. So that's the idea of the wheel. Now that we don't, I'm really trying to let go of this idea of arriving and, it's never over. Yeah. To quote Katy Perry, it's never really over. Yeah. And then to quote her ex-boyfriend, John Mayer, I will also say we're pop culture reference friendly here on this show. Don't you worry about that. But I think of the idea, he's got a song called Wheel, and one of his lyrics is, you can't love too much one part of it. And I'm really trying to take that kind of energy also into it, where it's all of this is beautiful. There's all of these colors are beautiful. There's parts about winter I don't love, but hey, I like chunky sweaters. So I'm leaning into that. There's parts of every season to love. Yes. And every season, as you said about the crone, every season of our lives is beautiful. There's aspects of it. We're never going to be this age again. Let's lean into it. That's, again, the kind of energy I'm trying to bring with me. Also, just this reminder, as we had said, I mean, for me, it kind of looks like a compass. Yeah. So really just keeping, it's really, you see all the zodiac representations, you see phases of the moon. So again, to hearken what you were saying to that, it's all about phases. I'm talking a lot here, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to lean into the changes because I know that it's a wheel. And bad times don't last, good times don't last, but that's okay. I want to lean into all of it
Yeah.
because I don't think that I have necessarily been leaning into everything. I think I'm someone that would like to numb a little bit, then feel it all.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to open myself up, because what happens is Prince of Wands.
Oh,
Then I can truly liberate myself and fly on the fire of my passion. Good things come when we let ourselves ignite that fire. So this card for me, I mean, Phoenix energy. I think this winter has really, like I said, that shedding of skin. We've also been keeping those ashes. I think those ashes are just in a pot. And so now it's time to do something with those ashes. Let's do something with them. And
something
it's time
meaningful,
to
right? Like, let's
that's
use
right.
it. Yeah, like, yeah.
So I want to be like the phoenix and take those lessons and everything that we've been learning throughout this winter and use it to propel me forward passionately.
Yeah. Yeah.
More
And then
Beltane fire. Yeah.
the wands, so the suit of wands is fire, right? No, but yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fire sign energy,
Yeah.
passion, purpose. The prince is someone who's brave. So that's something else I'm trying to bring in. He's also a charmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would, if I'm opening myself up to all possibilities, wouldn't that be, isn't she also creating her life? And wouldn't that maybe involve a beau, a counterpart? So
Yeah.
yes, I would like this usher looking man on a phoenix to come find me. That would be lovely. I am ready to fly. But
Yeah.
also I want to be that person. I don't necessarily just want to be swept off my feet. I want to be able to provide that energy and do some sweeping as well.
Do the sweeping. Wait, so I just want to say one thing about wands. So as
Yeah.
many of you may know, that Beltane / May Day, one of the biggest attractions is the maypole. And maypole, I mean, it's a phallic symbol, which is appropriate to a a fertility festival, a sexy season. I was going to say we have spooky season, and sexy season is.
And this is sexy.
I hate that, but it's accurate. But the wand is it's a a phallic symbol, but also your pen is a wand-like
Phallic symbol.
an
I
activity.
need you to I know you haven't seen these folk horror movies, but I need you to get on board with Wicker Man and Midsummer. There's so many things that I want to bring into this convo. I'm just like, there's a whole scene where they're teaching the kids and they're like, phallic symbol, phallic symbol. You would love it. So
I need to
we'll have a sleepover.
Let go of the fear. Let go of the fear. Yeah, keep going. All right. So
so that's all of the energy talk I wanted to talk about, those cards and the energy that I want to carry into. And I hope that you all got something from that. If not, that's really okay, because we're going to keep talking. So maybe you'll get something out of the next part. That's okay. But we wanted to share a little bit about ourselves and what we're the energy we're bringing into this season. So next we are going to actually be doing this is ritual. Yeah, we're actually going to be doing a card pull for the collective here. So like I said, take what you will, please leave the rest, but let's take a deep breath all together right now. We're big on breathing in this space. Release whenever feels comfortable for you. And Suzanne is actually going to be acting as the voice of the collective. And I believe she has some questions that might benefit all of us. Yeah. And I'll be consulting my intuitive True Heart Tarot cards. And then I'm also going to be pulling from Matt Kahn's Healing Mantra deck.
Awesome. So Dan, whenever you're ready, I can start my asking.
I am ready.
All right.
Ready when you are. Feeling good.
So again, please feel free to pause this video whenever you need to, so that you can write things down, write down questions, write down answers, I mean, whatever comes up for you. I hope you get some answers, but even if it's just some insights, please feel free to pause us and you know, get what you need, get what you can get from every card and conversation. So most of the rituals that I've ever attended or taken part in for the Sacred Earth holidays, the questions are often the same. And so I just want to do some versions of those questions. So the first question in this Beltane season, in this season of life and celebrating life, beginning life, is to look back for a moment and think, what can I leave behind right now? As I move forward and I celebrate life and I see all the potential that is there, what's something that I don't need to bring with me on that journey? What is something, is it a feeling? Is it an actual thing? Is it a relationship? Is it a habit? What is something, or a doubt? What is something that I can leave behind? Maybe I'm going to need to come back to it at some point in another circle of the year. Maybe I'm going to need to come back to it, but right now, what can I leave behind?
So 2 cards, I had a card jump out, so I am going to read that.
I love that.
I like to do that. And I am going to pull from the top as well. So yeah, what's in our garden that doesn't need to be anymore?
Weed out. Yes.
What was last year's vegetable, shall we? I mean, so the card that jumped out was the Sun card. So I'm glad that we already got to talk about that. So major arcana, major life moment, really just leaning into joy, abundance, leave behind the sadness. That's what can't come with us. The lack, the feeling of scarcity, it can't come with us. And then the card that I pulled from the top, it is in reverse. We'll talk about her upright first, but I got the Hierophant.
Ooh, interesting.
And like I said, it was in reverse. So when I look at reversals, that can be a disconnect or
like a blockage.
Let's just talk about her upright. Yeah, like a blockage, like a disconnect or a delay to this feeling. So I mean, upright, it's like a very religious figure, someone who is they're at the pulpit, they're giving the sermon. Those are people that are listening. I mean, since it wasn't, part of it is, the first thing that's coming up for me is this idea that don't take with you that you're not worthy to have an audience. Number one, you are. We all are. I know it's something I struggle with. I'm like, but I think that's what this is telling us, is just we've been, religious structures and structure in America, for example, was something that we inherited. It was given to us. There's no need to accept it anymore. There's no need to accept those rigid structures.
Yeah. I can't
not
believe
when everything is
up for that. Actually, I'm like kind of blown away that the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is like, my tarot education, it's like the structure of like religious structure is basically what that card.
Yeah, I mean, here, you and I talk about this a lot in terms of religion and tarot. I was raised Roman Catholic, so it's big for me to have a Mary candle with me during Beltane, because I went through a period of rejecting all of my Catholic upbringing because it didn't serve me. Now I'm going back and I'm saying, what parts of the ritual do I like? And realizing that that's okay, because they started it. They did it first. They were the first people to go through all the things and say what could stay, what could go. Tarot cards couldn't stay because people would be self-reflective and then not going to church and going to listen to the person at the pulpit. They'd be doing this. So not say you can't do both. I'm not saying that. You can totally, absolutely go to church and whatever you want. Both can exist. It's the idea that it was taught to us that both couldn't exist. You couldn't have both. Yes, you can. I can have a Mary candle. I can have tarot cards. I can have whatever I want, and so can you. So please take that with you. I am going to pull for a clarification from the Healing Mantra card, the Healing Mantra deck, rather.
Yeah.
Let's just see what card comes up just to kind of clarify on that. What comes up is resolving anger. Boy, am I angry about those structures that were placed on us in society. Boy, am I angry about how I don't fit in them, but still feel like I'm being squeezed, as some of you may as well.
Yeah.
So what the message is, conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself. Conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself. So what I also want to just say when that card comes up in a time during a pandemic, maybe some of you are feeling like you can't ask for more space because we're in a pandemic. Who am I to ask for space? People have lost their family members. No, you can still set boundaries and ask for space if it is something that is beneficial to your well-being. And that looks different for everybody. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm letting my anger, say something, please.
No, let that anger out. This is what it's for. I feel like that for me, this resonates so much because I was brought up, my mother was raised Catholic, my father was raised Episcopalian, my mother converted to Episcopalianism to marry my father. We were baptized in the Episcopalian church. And then for me, that was like it. Like I was never made to go to church.
Yeah.
I went to a UU church with a friend a little bit. But I feel like as sort of a dreamy spiritual child, I wanted ritual. I wanted sacred days, but I always felt, and continue into adulthood to felt super disconnected from Christmas, from Easter, from these days that I just have no connection to them. Like I don't have any connection to the mythology that they are grounded in, or the most recent iteration of the mythology that they're grounded in, the Christian myths. And so the discovery of these earth-based holidays, I call the like Judeo-Christian religions like sky religions, because everything's up there. And then there's and for me, they're just so much more potent because you can feel it. You can walk down the street and smell these flowers and be totally intoxicated by them. And for me, it feels closer to the divine. I mean, that's, what we want.
And that's enough. And that's why there's so much celebration, because that's just enough. When you go outside, you can't help but be like, oh, this feels like a different energy. I want to celebrate it. I want to usher it in.
And that's sacred, right? Like, can we have a day that is saying like this? Because for me, I feel I need it. That's why I'm here with you. Like, I feel like we
and honestly,
to honor that.
Not to cut you off, but yes, we do need to honor that. And what I'm hoping comes out of this is a more sense of community. Like we said, we've established what holidays we do want to celebrate. And this is a way of finding other people that also want to celebrate those as well. So this is a way of finding community.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Dan, do you have my timer stopped working? Do you have a time sense?
I do not. I can tell you it is 5:58 California time. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. We're just gonna keep going.
But we've got one more question and then we're wrapping up, right? I mean, we're coming to the close. So
my timer just got screwed up. So.
That's fine. I think, we're coming, we'll wrap it up, everybody. Number one, I just want to say I want to thank everyone for sticking with us this long. If you
wasn't shutting you down. I was getting scared that we were going to get cut off. So keep going.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Oh, we might. If that happens, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
You're right. Okay. We'll see what happens. But if that happens right now, tell people where they can find you on social media.
Oh, well, I am at Feminine Marvelous Tough on Instagram, and Suzanne Lunden Metzger on Facebook. But it's Feminine Marvelous Tough on Instagram. And you?
Beautiful. I am Dan G. Testa on Instagram. So it's like at Dang Testa.
Dang Testa.
My middle name is George. That's why the G is there. It's not a nickname. But, and yeah, please find me on the social media. And if you're interested in a tarot reading, I would love to do a private reading with you. Please reach out. So we've got one more question from the collective. Is that right, Suzanne?
Yeah. So
bring it on. I'm so ready.
In the spirit of these rituals, I want to ask simply for this next drawing, what can we grow in our Beltane season gardens? What can we encourage the growth of. And what, because right now the things are growing, things are planted and they are growing. So what can we nurture? What can we help to further grow?
Yeah. Does it need more fertilizer? Is it more water? What does it need? What does it need? Tell us what we need to further along our abundance and our harvest, what we've been planting seeds for.
Yes.
Let's find out, shall we?
Yes.
So we got the 7 of discs in reverse. We'll talk about it upright first. So 7 is going to be a spiritual number of spirituality. Discs are going to be pentacles, if that's just your normal Rider-Waite Smith deck. It's going to be money, or something you value as much as money, physical health, something tangible, something you can touch. Yeah. As you can see, this person is pregnant. They are tending their garden. They are preparing for the birth. So it's interesting with the reversal. Maybe we feel disconnected from being able to tend that garden.
Yeah.
Maybe we feel patience is the word that comes up for me, baby. That's the word that just hit me. It was just I was just looking at, like, what do we need? What do we need? Maybe it's just patience.
Yeah.
Maybe the sun is coming. Maybe the water's on its way. It's called rain. Maybe, our earth is here. You just got to keep tending it. I think that's just what this means. It's just this idea that just.
Can I see it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for a pregnant woman to be tending a garden, she has to have a lot of patience with herself, because that's hard. That would be really hard. I can't believe that card just came up.
But this feels,
yeah,
but that feels like there's been some resistance possibly to feeling like we either have the time, resources, energy to tend that garden. We're feeling a little bit of resistance. So I think, you can't push a river. If you're feeling that resistance, maybe we lean into it. Maybe that's what this is saying, is like, yes, it's spring and we want to jump on the water slide, but maybe it's still winter's wrapping up. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient.
So profound. I mean, I honestly think that, because the Hierophant, the first card you drew, was also reversed, right? They were both reversed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel, for me, doing this, it feels very important to me to celebrate Beltane, because I feel like individually and collectively, we need it. We need this sort of life reveling thing to happen. But also, like, we're still in a pretty dark place. Like, the world is pretty, and we've been in the dark for so long that of course we feel blocked in throwing ourselves fully into it, because we can't even we're like, to even have a traditional Beltane festival right now is still kind of dangerous. Like, it's still like,
we can't do it. So I did pull a healing card. I think this is also kind of piggybacking on that idea of what we talked about, resolving anger earlier.
Yeah.
And that idea of, yes, there's much to be angry about right now. What we can do is let that fire, we're talking about Beltane, talk about fire, let that fire guide you. What makes you angry? Okay, maybe that's a cause that you want to do something with.
Yeah.
Let those triggers be your guide. Let those hurts be a source for you to look at the pain, that kind of idea. So I think this might be redundant, but the healing card that we got was encountering conflict. I don't choose sides, I take a stand. I don't choose sides, I take a stand. So yes, we are going to encounter resistance during this time of planting our seeds and waiting for the abundance to come in. But I think it's just about hanging with it, just knowing this is about choosing your heart, everybody. I just want to make that clear. This is whatever your abundance looks like. Maybe it's just you were able to get dinner that night and make it the way that you wanted to. You got to put your special ingredients together. Maybe it came from your garden.
Yeah.
It's going to look different for everybody. It's going to take everybody a different amount of time. So let's not compare each other's gardens. Let's not do that either, because that is just going to make us angry. I'm really feeling this thing of patience, man. It's like, we're so angry. We're vibrating. Spring is happening. Fire. Yes.
Yeah.
Let it fuel you. You let it be your fuel, because fire also leads to burnout. So don't burn out. This is a time to tend that fire. Keep it going. Make it make your burn a constant burn. Don't let it be
Yeah.
something that drives you, burns you out. Let
Yeah.
it be like that. Putting more kindling on the fire,
Yeah.
filling your cup up so that you can fill up other people's. It's that
Yeah.
idea. That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting from all of these messages. So that's all I got to say about this coming Beltane season.
Yeah.
Use the
I
fire. Use the fire.
use the fire, but I feel like also, I don't know, something about Beltane and it's, it's opposite Samhain, Halloween, is that there is this element of danger there. Like there's an element of danger in this, like, it's intoxicating. Like there's something intoxicating.
It's sexy, Suzanne.
Right.
Not
It's
to
a
yell at
sexy
you,
season.
but you kind of talked earlier about why was Halloween so accepted? Why is this still a little taboo? We're talking
Right.
about sex still. We're
Right.
talking about women's bodies
Right.
impregnated. We're talking about things that
Right.
just
Right.
are not looked at the way they should
Right.
be. So
And
with that comes,
right. I think that it's remarkable to me, and I think this feels like a pivotal moment because it's still taboo to talk to your kids honestly
it
about sex.
is.
It's still taboo to talk, to talk about these things. And I think as a generation, I feel so lucky to be in this generation of people who are just pretty open about things. Like
And can I also say, Suzanne, won't it feel a little taboo to teach your children these
right.
rituals?
Well,
Because it wasn't handed down to you that way.
yes.
So now
Yes.
so won't that feel a little different?
It does.
Goes back to that Hierophant card that we had in reverse.
Yes.
Throw it out.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. We're finding our new community.
Right.
We've got our new friends, our chosen family.
Right.
You want to have a solstice party? So shout out to my friend Rebecca. I know she plans on celebrating solstice in her house.
Right.
We're gonna find that sense of community,
and
that ritual
right. And maybe we need it to save this world. I mean, I honestly feel like we were talking about her, like we're like Beltane evangelists, but like if we're gonna, the earth is, needs some help. And like we need to care about it. And maybe we need to make the earth and make all of its natural cycles sacred again. Like maybe we need to make things important to us. Because,
and I just want to say it's easier than we think, because perfection has gotten in the way of my productivity. Like for me to even engage in this conversation, I've held myself back because it's like, well, I'm no tarot expert. I'm no Beltane expert. It's not about that. It's about wanting to be involved in the conversation, being open to listening, and just showing up, being like, yeah. And I'm going to talk about Beltane today.
No, I think
just start.
It's so,
just start.
All right. So all of you out there, we love to talk. So right now I encourage you to pause if you'd like, and just write down anything that you would like to take with you from this ritual and this reading, and just anything, just jot it down in your garden piece of paper.
I love that. Put more seeds on that and that garden paper. I love that.
All right. And so when you come back, hi everyone. So what I want to leave everyone with a few notions as we go into this this high ripe Beltane season. Again, I feel like we've learned a lot from these cards, that it's not just like, hey, here we are, it's Beltane, let's celebrate. Like there's a lot of layers, especially in this very fraught world, this very sad world that we live in now. And so I want to send you off with a few notions. One is very, in sort of background of Beltane, one is very lighthearted. We talked a little bit about the fairies earlier, but there's this notion at Beltane and at Samhain, at Halloween, that the veils are thin between the worlds. And so at Samhain and Halloween, there's this notion that like you can commune with the dead more easily, that the spirits are there for you to thank and to interact with. And at Beltane, it's not the spirits of the dead, but it's the spirits of life. And this idea, like there's people who in places, especially like in Ireland, like remote, that believe in fairies. I mean, they think that they believe in them. And I feel like that's such a loss that we don't believe in them. And I invite you. I did this the other day and it was so healing in a weird way for me. We had this morning, I have 3 small children and I'm in the morning, I'm by myself with them sometimes and it is just chaos. It's not, even when my husband is here, it's still chaos. But everything was spilling. Everything, like every single thing was spilling and falling and smashing, and it was just madness. And I can get before caffeine, or I am not a morning person, and so with 3 small children, and like if I don't have enough caffeine, it can be very unpleasant. And so I was like, okay, I can get angry. I feel myself getting angry at my kids and angry at myself about this mess that is happening all over the place. Or I can just blame the fairies. I can say, oh, look,
they are mischievous and some evil. So
look,
yes.
Where did all these Cheerios on the floor just come from? Oh, it must have been the fairies. And instantly it takes the weight off of the whole situation. Cause like, who cares about spilled Cheerios, really? Like, but I feel like let the fairies take responsibility for some things, even just for the day tomorrow. Just let them take responsibility. Like, and if you have kids,
I
like,
will. Thank you.
the thing, like, oh, I lost this object. Oh, the fairies must have taken it. You can even leave out, again, like Halloween, like the trick-or-treating, the candy, again, like Christmas, we've taken this notion of offerings and we've adapted it to all of our Christian holidays. Like leave offerings out for the fairies. And again, if you have kids, like talk to your kids about, oh, we could leave things out for the fairies and maybe they'll come visit us and maybe they'll come share their ancient wisdom with, I don't know. That's one thing, the fairies.
Yeah, if you can have the elf on the shelf, why can't you have fairy in the dairy?
Right.
Is that a thing?
Like on that note, like you also, I invite you, like on Halloween, to dress up in some kind of Beltane garb. Flower crowns are traditional for Beltane. But like literally anything that makes you feel beautiful or connected to the spring in any way, connected to the season, put it on. Wear it.
We're all May Queens here. All of us. That's not a gender. We're all May Queens here.
Embrace it. And even if it's just like putting on some lipstick under your mask, like put on your lipstick under your mask.
Or
like
chapstick that's red.
Yeah, put on your red chapstick under your mask. Like again, it's about
it's sexy, it's sensual.
Sexy season. It's about embracing that.
It's dangerous.
There's a storm blowing up outside my window right now. It's pretty crazy.
Okay.
Sexy season. And then the last thing I just want to leave you with, which is something really beautiful that a teacher of mine named Asia Suler mentioned in a class that I took with her. And she said that she dealt with some chronic illness and isolation and that chronic illness, and she often felt just so lonely in her pain and her illness. And what helped her the most was feeling like she was, or this sort of reminder that she was connected to everything. She was connected to the trees outside. She was connected to the earth below her. She was part of the web of life around her, and that helped her in dealing with her pain. And I feel like it's helpful for me when I take these walks, when I have a babysitter for a few hours a week and I get to take a walk in the park and remember that I am of the same earth that these flowers and these vines and these grasses and these greens are. Like, for me, it's very healing. And I mean, ultimately, that's what I want to offer to you, is that sense of finding, healing and space and celebration in this time and in this sacred day. And so what she said was, if you ever need to remember to feel connected, or how to feel connected, she said, ask for a sign, anything. Like ask the universe for a sign. It could be a butterfly, it could be a bird, it could be a tulip, it could be anything. And just be open to it. It will come. whatever that sign that you ask for is, it will emerge. And it might be a butterfly flies by your window. It might be a butterfly comes up on a commercial on TV. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's going to be, you're going to have to take some
That's
ideal.
right.
This is how I always felt like, oh, I have to be in these idyllic places to have these idyllic experiences. And like, that's no.
No, it's not
So
possible.
what I invite you to do is to take your little garden sheet that you have made, your piece of paper, that hopefully is filled with some treasures to take away from this. And just go through and circle anything that really stands out to you. Like, you might have written down random stuff, but if there's any little nuggets of gold in there, I invite you to circle them. And if you want, you could even transfer those little words, whatever you circled, onto a clean sheet of paper. And I invite, and it could be the colors from that initial exercise we did, anything that just has stuck with you throughout this time. I invite you to either just take it with that whole piece of paper with you, or transfer it to a clean sheet and fold that up and keep that with you tomorrow or today or whenever. And try to take those little nuggets as signs and ask, and just kind of send them out and say, if any of these things come up for me, I know I'm connected. I know that I am part of this web. So if it was the color red, like, and so then the next time you see red, it's going to mean something to you. You're going to remember that you are connected. So that's, I want to leave you with that what has come out of you today, what has been inspired in you today, is what connects you to the greater, wider web of things. So yeah, that's where I want to end.
Beautiful, Suzanne.
Thank
Beautiful.
you, Dan. Thank you so much for doing this with me. This has been
My pleasure.
I hope our technology doesn't fail us and that it works.
Me too. Thank you, Suzanne. I'm so glad that we
All
could
right.
finally collaborate, and I hope we get to do it again.
Yeah.
And thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Blessed Beltane to you.